All right, I'm not too sure if I'm live. My YouTube. All right, there we go. So what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I'm going to start sharing my screen in just a bit. I'm going to do a quick little recap on how kind of today played out. I'm still swing trading GNC. I'm still swing trading AMD, and I'm really just focusing on my swing trades. So with that being said, nothing crazy going on for me this morning. And trying to keep it, as simple as possible. So I do want to thank you guys all for taking time out of your day and to really, I know I say it all the time, but just to watching this live stream. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can, and I'll get straight to the point with how I called out the certain dip buys. So if you guys are part of my group of TechBud Solutions, wow, AMD just dropped below $11, so that's pretty upsetting. But I called out three different stocks on the dips, and that was ESPR, GoPro, and GNC. These are all stocks that we've been watching for the past week, and they're ones that have been doing very well or have either been showing signs of an uptrend. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. It's a free platform. You guys can search it up on YouTube, search it up with TOS, Thinkorswim, and then put my name next to it. I have a bunch of videos talking about it, how I have my own thing set up on that. So please feel free to check out the helpful video playlist to answer any frequently asked questions, as I probably have a video, since I have over like 520 videos, or 540 videos. I actually don't know what it is, but let me kind of get straight to it. And that's actually too big. I want it to be a little bit smaller right there. There we go. Let's get right to it. So this is, so AMD had a pretty decent sell-off. I'm going to talk about the ones that we were focusing on, and that is really just it. So let me actually take off. Maybe that's why it's a little bit slow, and this probably shouldn't be. There we go. So let's go ahead and start breaking down stocks. Let me talk to you guys about the dip buys, and then I'll talk to you guys about just some of the stocks that we're following up with. So the reason that I called GNC on the dip buy was it had a huge sell-off. This was all intraday, and this is why I called it out. GNC, a very reputable company, right? If you guys know about it, it's a multi-million-dollar company. It has a very strong trend that we've been able to capitalize. We've been trying to capitalize on, and we're trying to wait for the confirmation with. Let's see if I can actually pull it up and see if you guys can see it. This is the trend that we're trying to identify. GNC, it's more of a technical analysis. We can see that it has a previous support right there, and right there, right around that $650, $660 price point. A known area, support is a psychological price point where it's known to bounce. It usually holds above. With that being said, we're trying to identify a good buy point, right? Because it's so recent that it hit that price point, the EMA line hasn't necessarily caught up with it, so it's going to probably consolidate for a couple of days before it starts trending up. But the reason that I find this thing to be so, see so much value in it is when I see that it breaks above $7, from $7 to $8, it offers about 15% potential for profit. So with that being said, it offers a lot of potential for profit compared to the potential for loss that GNC offers. We're at a really low point, right? Finding a really good buy for a very reputable company, and this isn't like a penny stock or anything like that. And we're catching at a very low point that when it starts, rising and increasing in price, we get that confirmation that we're investing in something that's seeing signs of an uptrend, and that's why I see so much potential long term. Intraday, it had a little bit of a sell-off, but it's because of these sell-offs. When they have huge sell-offs, I wait for the bounce off the golden VWAP, and because it's a reputable company, as long as it confirms the support and then it breaks a resistance level, just like it did when it broke above 665. It hit lows of 661. I didn't care too much about that, but when it started to show signs and I had the alert that it broke above 665, I was on my daily call with the people that are part of my mentorship program, and I was like, hey, look into GNC. It just broke above 665. I believe there's one or two traders that chose to take a position. It broke above the EMA around 670, and then where was a good sell point? Well, we called out 685. The reason why was because that's previously where it peaked out at, as it bounced at around 675. So with that being said, it wasn't huge potential, especially from the call out from 675 to 685, but it was 3% exactly. And it's focusing on consistent growth, trades that you understand. And even if you wanted to hold GNC long term from that entry point of 665, the potential is huge. We're talking about 15 to 20% potential. Or intraday, you can lock in the 3%, which is probably what I would have done if I didn't already have a position on GNC. But we also just called out, and this was in the general main group chat that you guys can all have access to, that's free for everyone, and that's at 680. So it started to consolidate intraday after the VWAP. So if you guys could see, with buying the dips, Something that I really focus on, let me just make it as simple as I can. Something that I really focus on, especially if you guys want to play it as safe as possible, is reputable companies with a, that big picture are show signs of a consistent uptrend, and intraday have pretty decent sell-offs. And as you can see, it opened at about 690, so we thought it was going to open strong and had a sell-off all the way down to 661. The RSI indicator is a good indicator to indicate when a stock is oversold, as well as the VWAP indicator, which are these lines. It's VWAP. I have a video on it if you don't know what that is. It's this golden line that really indicates when a stock is about to bounce. And we just wait for the confirmation. We don't just buy when it touches the golden VWAP because it touched it multiple times, but we buy when it bounces and then breaks a resistance level, and that was at 665, and then it broke above EMA. That's when you know that a stock is trending up. So with that being said, they were able to, ride that 3% profit that it offered because it made sense. We identified a margin of profit, so that's from confirmation of 665 to 685. So that was our plan. We waited for the bounce and the break above the EMA. So that's a confirmation of the uptrend. And we're trading a reputable company. That big picture, there's not a huge form of risk involved. And I would much rather take a position in something like this than something that is that it's BONT that came from highs of 140 and is down about 20% or 10% on the day. Because does that mean BONT is gonna come actually right back up? No, it's not such a reputable company. It was more of a pump and dump since it came from 32 cents, and it's most likely going to come back down to 32 cents. So with that being said, that's kind of my approach when it comes down to intraday dip buys. If you simply just want to focus on intraday dip buys, this is not swing trading. I have a video on how I do that. But intraday dip buys, reputable companies, intraday, we look when it's oversold. We wait for the confirmation of the uptrend. You can wait for the break above EMA if you want to be a little bit more conservative. And you formulate a plan, your entry, exit, and stop loss. And if it shows, that it's increasing in price, and you can see that, you're getting in at a good price intraday, then that's really what I focus on. It doesn't mean that that's what you have to do. Let me call out GoPro. Same thing, GoPro, solid trend, big picture. We've been talking about this for the past week. Why is it that I saw so much potential intraday? Well, it was showing a really strong uptrend, right? Hit highs of 1050, which we called out perfectly. We had a trader that was in since 990 that I believe, we were talking about, hey, where's a good price to sell? We said 1050. That's about 6% profit since his entry. And I think he got in on Friday. And that's why swing trading can be such a profitable avenue if you know how to do it correctly. And it had a pretty decent sell-off. So from 1050, we just waited for it to start to consolidate. It broke below the VWAP indicator. So again, you might want to watch my video if you don't know how to read this. But pretty much it broke below it, so we don't really care about that. We care when it starts to bounce and validate that support. And I called this out both on the main chat and on the private mentorship Q&A chat. And we called it out at about 1030 when it broke back above, and then we called out the resistance at 1050. It doesn't mean that it has to hit 1050, but again, just focusing on stocks that intraday still show potential and then big picture still show potential. Why do I see potential in GoPro? Well, if we look at 180-day analysis, we could see that there's definitely a huge uptrend that GoPro is having, and it pushes up and then pushes down and pushes up and pushes down. There is an earnings report coming up, so that's just something that you might want to take into consideration. The last one that we called out intraday was ESPR. This is one that we talked about yesterday in our Sunday Stock Talk. Previous support at $44, $45, and it started to show signs and broke above the EMA. Big picture, right? So on the 180-day chart. It did hit a resistance at around $47 to $48. It was $47.50. Sorry about that. Just got a notification. And then it pulled back to about $46. If you guys remember, my call out for the Sunday Stock Talk was I thought it was going to bounce at $46. You guys can watch it. It's an hour-long video, so I don't know how comfortable you'd feel about watching that. But we talked about it all morning. Wait for the pullback, wait for the pullback. It bounced at $46 exactly. This is not something that I knew 100%. I just knew because it increased so much in price on Friday that it was only expected to pull back. These swing trade stocks, and even though these stocks that are reputable companies, the reason that we see a lot of value on ESPR is because it shows signs of a solid uptrend. We didn't know 100% that this thing was going to bounce the way that it did, but because it grew so much on Friday, it's only expected for the demand and the hype to not be so relevant the days that follow, and then that's what causes, a little bit of a pullback. So I actually think ESPR can still come back down to $45 before it really starts pushing back up to about that $50 price point. So I think ESPR is a great stock to have to your watch list because it does offer a lot of potential big picture. I do want to shout out one of our members. His name is Adam, I believe. Yeah, so his name is Adam, and he's one that asked me, and this is something that they do all the time. Different members within the group asked me, hey, what do you think? They just asked for a secondhand opinion. He found this stock, and I'm sure we've talked about it multiple times within the group, but he approached me about this because he saw value in it. And this is one of the great things about it. I told him, hey, thank you for calling it out. Watch out for the earnings report because it is coming up pretty soon. But with that being said, it does have a previous resistance at $6, which is acting as a new support. So again, old resistance levels become new support levels, and that's why it's really starting to consolidate at $6 and starting to indicate somewhat of a almost a bounce trend. I'm going to wait until it goes and past earnings, but I do think that, this one does offer a lot of potential to go back up to $7 since this is Fitbit. Multi-billion-dollar company, if I'm not mistaken. So it offers about 16% potential, but I actually think that it could break highs of $7. I don't feel comfortable holding over the weekend. I don't think $6.13 is a bad entry either. I don't need to get in at $6 exactly. I just want to get in when it's trending up and not when it's overpriced. So I did want to talk about, let's go ahead and see. There's one that we really wanted to talk about, and yeah, AMD is tanking, so that's very unfortunate. A couple traders said that it was going to bounce around $10.80, so let's hope so. You guys finally showing signs of a reversal, so now starting to show signs of an uptrend. Is not above EMA yet on the 180-day chart, so again, that's not until 950, but it is showing signs of an uptrend. Congrats to those that were in JNUG as well that held it over the weekend. This thing really started pushing up. It's almost hitting $16, and that's really the confirmation that we needed. So now JNUG is pushing up and JDST is pushing down. So that's the confirmation that we needed. Again, not investing in a stock when it's seeing signs of a selling downtrend, but when it's actually starting to push back up. And this is now, actually, I'm going to add it to my watch list because now it's relevant. Now it's actually meeting certain criteria, and this is why I want to keep my eyes on it. Let me go ahead and talk about, where is it? EGLT. This thing has not broken below $1. But it does have an earnings report coming up soon. $1 is a previous support, and it offers a resistance around 120 to 150. It's just still holding above $1. The volume is very low. Don't know really what much else to say about EGLT. Following up with another stock that we talked about in our Sunday Stock Talk, this is LXGTF. It was showing signs of a consistent uptrend. I still have my alert set at 45 cents. If it does not break above 45 cents, then I just don't see the potential for this thing to continue trending up. It's been gapping up every 5 cents, so that's why I was like, okay, well, it's meeting certain criteria when it comes down to me wanting to invest in stocks that are showing signs of an uptrend, and it's holding above EMA. So as long as it continues that trend and we break above $45, 45 cents, then that could be a good intraday play. I don't know about swing trading this one just because it is a stock less than $1, and I don't hold stocks less than $1. So just wanted to follow up with that one as well and let you guys know that this is a potential one that you guys might want to add to your watch list, especially if you have a little bit of a smaller account. Just make sure you understand the importance of risk management and following with a stop loss. If you don't, then you probably should not be trading this or really anything, unfortunately, at the moment. This is the one that I wanted to talk about. This is, right, TAL. No, CX. This is more of an intraday play that I think shows a little bit more potential. Solid support at $8 is having a pretty decent sell-off. If we look at it a little bit closer when it comes down to like a 10-day analysis, and this is one I think that Porter called out within the group chat, and it already had its earnings. Everything already happened. It's just having a really bad sell-off. So even as an intraday play, it's had this previous support before at $8.10. Just wait for the confirmation. And the intraday, bounce, the potential is still pretty decent. It's about 2 to 3%. You just have to ask yourself, what's your goal on a weekly basis? And this can be a good potential day trade. 2 to 3%. It has a solid trend. It's not like you're going to lose a ridiculous amount. It doesn't move super quick either. Just make sure that you have a plan. Follow with a stop loss. That's always very important. Something that you should always have. But when it comes down to a good potential day trade or even swing trade, this thing has been showing consistent signs of an uptrend. Today it just had a sell-off, so this might be something that you guys want to add to your watch list. But yeah, that's really just it. So I want to see if there's a couple people with questions. Let's see. And thank you guys again for joining. I hope that my breakdown on the dip buys and the way that I kind of break down the reputable companies that we're trying to focus on in stocks with a solid uptrend can kind of guide you in the right direction. So I have a question by Andrew Munoz. He's saying, "What's up, Ricky? What do you think about XXII?" I don't like the solid downtrend that stock is experiencing. So there's no confirmation of an uptrend, so I'm not too worried about it. I removed it from my watch list because it was so irrelevant. It's not meeting any of my criteria anymore. So one of the top ones that I'm looking at right now have to be GNC. AMD is one that I'm looking at very closely. CX just broke above 810, so that one's pretty good. And then UGAZ and JNUG are the ones that I think offer the most potential that are already showing signs of an uptrend. UGAZ and JNUG, they're both inverse ETFs. They were both on a solid downtrend for about 5 to 10 days. And they both, I think, now are, we're waiting for AMD to show signs of a confirmation. We're waiting for GNC to show signs of a confirmation. We're waiting for so many companies to start showing signs of a confirmation. UGAZ and JNUG are already showing signs of a confirmation. Does that mean 100% that you should invest in it? No. But with that being said, it comes down to these are ones that are already actively increasing in price. So I just wanted to call that out. Thank you again for everything that you guys do. I'm going to end the live stream here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to direct message me when it comes down to the TechBud Solutions Discord chat. All the links are down in the description if you guys would like to be a part of the group. And hey, Ricky, I noticed that you mentioned scanners recently for those in the mentorship. Okay, so Isaac is part of the mentorship program. Where's our video to set these up? So Isaac, if you're part of the mentorship program and you have access to the lesson library, it's in one of the sections that it does a step-by-step video on how to set up my momentum scanner and my swing trade scanner. Also, if you're a part of the private group chat, under the announcement sections, I have all my scan criteria set up there. I have everything that's in my watch list and stuff like that. So feel free to direct message me if you need me to tell you exactly where it is that it's at. But thank you again for asking. But yeah, thank you guys again for everything that you guys do. Continue working hard, continue following your dreams, let your passion be what drives you in your success. And I hope that you guys are looking forward to today's video. I think that should be pretty exciting. And we should have our video up by 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. So like always, guys, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care.